The White House is discussing plans to replace Secretary of State Rex Tillerson with CIA Chief Mike Pompeo, U.S. media say. Mr. Tillerson has been at odds with Mr. Trump over foreign policy recently. The Secretary of State was even reported to have privately described the president as a moron. They have differed in their approach to North Korea's missile testing and Iran's nuclear program, among other issues. Two White House officials were quoted by Associated Press as saying a plan was being discussed, and unnamed government sources also spoke to the New York Times and Vanity Fair. Mr. Pompeo would be replaced at the CIA by Republican Senator Tom Cotton, the New York Times reports. Reports suggest the change could take place as soon as December or in January. However, it is not yet clear whether Mr. Trump has given final approval to the move, the NYT reports. By Barbara Plett, BBC State Department correspondent. Tensions between Mr. Trump and Mr. Tillerson have been widely reported. That seems partly for personal reasons. The two are chalk and cheese in temperament and the way they work. But Mr. Trump is also said to have complained that his Secretary of State is too establishment. The president has undermined Mr. Tillerson on key policy areas with his fiery tweets. Yet he's also quietly accepted the secretary's diplomatic strategy on issues like North Korea, suggesting the relationship is more complex than reported. Separately, Mr. Tillerson's management style has also alienated chunks of his natural constituency, many in the State Department, Congress, and foreign policy community. That's because he accepted Trump's proposed budget cuts without much of a fight and, at the same time, launched a major redesign of the department without saying where it was heading or explaining the details. There's also been an exodus of dismissed or disillusioned senior staff who aren't being replaced quickly enough. Not all of this is Mr. Tillerson's fault, but he has failed to navigate the push and pull of Washington's politics. The White House has said Mr. Tillerson remains in post. As the president just said, Rex is here, White House spokeswoman Sarah Sanders said in a statement. There are no personnel announcements at this time. Secretary Tillerson continues to lead the State Department and the entire cabinet is focused on completing this incredibly successful first year of President Trump's administration. In further reaction to the reports, Senate Foreign Relations Committee Chairman Bob Corker said Mr. Tillerson was unaware of anything changing. They don't appear to get on. Mr. Trump's disenchantment with Mr. Tillerson, a former chief executive of energy giant ExxonMobil, has been rumored for some time. The Secretary of State has defended the multi-party deal to curb Iran's nuclear ambitions in return for a loosening of sanctions, an agreement derided by Mr. Trump. The president also said in October that Mr. Tillerson was wasting his time trying to bring about diplomatic contacts with North Korea as it continues to build up its missile and nuclear capabilities. The moron comment is unlikely to have helped relations either.